Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr from Mama Elephant, and today I'm sharing a Baked with Love outdoor scene card. The kind of whole feeling of this card was to create this outdoor scene with the adorable Baked with Love critters that they're out baking in the wilderness. And I am using this awesome wood grain cover to create what I'm trying to visualize for this card as a tree trunk, and then we're going to create a window in it. So they're like standing on one side of the tree in the snow baking and all of that, and then you can see through the window to the snow-capped mountains in the distance. So just kind of a fun little take on creating an outdoor scene card. I love mixing and matching different Mama Elephant products to create unique scenes. Scenes are always one of my very favorite things to create, and I think these Baked with Love cuties will work really well with lots of other Mama Elephant critters, but they also work really well on their own, and you get lots of images in this stamp set. I'm going to be using 5 different images from the set. I think there's only 3 I didn't use, and we're going to be using a sentiment from the Handcrafted Happiness stamp set with our card. So I have die cut my wood grain cover. I have used a basic circles die, the window die, to die cut the window in that, and then I've got 2 layers from the landscape trio dies to create the snow in the foreground. For the background, I've got another panel that I am inking with Hero Hues Pool Party Reactive Ink. And I'm only going to concentrate that ink in that upper third part of the panel. And then I will spritz this with a little water from a distress sprayer to give it kind of more of that snowy, less perfect look. And I have die cut the mountains using the Snow-Capped Mountains border die. The actual snow caps are die cut from a flocked paper so that they have a little bit of fun texture. So for our mountains, let's add some color to those as well. I didn't die cut them from a solid cardstock. I wanted to ink them instead. I'm actually using the Lawn Fawn Pizza Crust cardstock to add color to my mountain range. We're using blending brushes to add color to both the background and the mountains. Now, once we have all of our background scene pieces, we can assemble this, and then we're going to stamp the Baked with Love critters, and we're going to color those and add those to our card design. This is actually a super fast card to put together. There might be quite a few steps, but it goes together really quick. Now, I thought I needed to pull in a little bit of that Pool Party Reactive Ink along the edges of the landscape trio borders, snow borders, to just tie it all together. I did not re-ink my blending brush, but instead just took the ink that was already on there and just added right along the edge only a little bit of color. This is another good opportunity right now to add our stamped sentiment. You could definitely use any of the Baked with Love sentiments if you want to. I really love the Handcrafted Happiness sentiments. They work for lots of different things, but I just thought this was a really pretty one. It says, uniquely limited handmade goods handcrafted just for you. You could put whatever you want on the inside of the card, really. I just thought this was really cute, and I'm going to stamp that with a black ink along the snowy border along the bottom edge of the card. Often I talk about not using black ink when I'm coloring and doing no line coloring and there's not black in the rest of the card design, just because I feel like it really stands out. In this case, I really wanted it to stand out. I'm going to be stamping my critters with VersaFine black ink so that I can color them in with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. Sometimes I feel like doing no line coloring, sometimes I don't. You can do, whatever you want. I love that there are no rules and that you can color these cuties with your favorite coloring mediums, whatever that might be. So I'm adding those flocked snow-capped snow caps to the mountains, just the two mountains that are going to be seen. There's no reason to add them to the outside peaks because those are actually not going to be seen through our basic circles window. Then we're going to add the mountain range to our inked and spritzed sky. And then we're going to back the wood grain cover with the window with foam adhesive. So it just has a tiny bit of dimension. Not going to go crazy here, just using some Scotch foam adhesive. So it has a tiny bit of dimension, but still fits into a card easily. Now that we have our scene put together, it is time to stamp and color the Baked with Love cuties. I am going to be using on my card today the bears, both the bear wearing the chef's hat and the apron and the bear eating a cookie, the scale, a squirrel, and the bunny. And I picked them mostly based on how they fit in the card design. I knew straight off I wanted to use the bears, and I wanted to fill in that whole area along the snowy landscape. And from there, I played around with different placements. I originally picked the bunny and was going to have the three of them, and then I thought there's still room for more, and I want more embellishment. I want more accessories. And so I ended up pulling in the scale and the squirrel. I tend to like my embellishments in odd numbers, and so I felt like I needed about 3 to 5 to fit and work on this card design. Next, I am coloring in my images with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. My images were stamped on Bristol Smooth cardstock with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And on this cardstock, I think the Zigs just blend like butter. I purposely tried to keep the coloring a little bit more on the light side. You're going to notice like the squirrel and things aren't going to be as light, but I tried to put my dark color down. I blended out with a little bit lighter color, in this case mid-brown and oatmeal, and then I blended further out with the blender, which is clear, and I added pink haze to the inside of the ear and to the cheek on the bear. That gives a little bit of character. Then the tray of cookies is blue gray and pale gray, so kind of that silver sheet pan type of look. And the gingerbread cookies on the tray were colored in with beige. Her apron and chef's hat are colored in with peach pink, pink haze, and a blender. And I started really light, and I actually went back in and added a little bit more peach pink to darken it more after I kind of got to that point. But I really wanted to keep it a little bit more on the light side, and then I'm going to do one of my very favorite things, which is adding detail into colored images. So once I'm all done, I like to take the dark color, and in this case I added a little plaid design to her apron to give a little bit more interest and fun. Let's color in her chef's hat with the same colors before we move on to the other cute little bear that's chowing down on one of those gingerbread cookies. He's going to be colored in with the same colors that I used for the mama bear, and that's going to be mid-brown, oatmeal, the blender, pink haze for the cheek and the inside of the ear, and then of course beige for the gingerbread cookie. I just think they are so cute. They can't help but make you smile. The images are just so darling. Next, we are going to work on the bunny. I'm going to be coloring this bunny in with beige and medium beige with pink haze for the insides of the ears and the cheek, and of course the blender again to lighten that up. So just a little bit lighter version of the bears plus a little bit different color combination, which makes them look makes the bunny look different than the bears. Once the bunny's all colored, I think I skipped around a little bit. I tried to go image by image, and then for whatever reason I started skipping around. And I did do the apron. That's turquoise green and green shadow. The apron will have a little pattern to it as well. I generally like to let the ink kind of sit and dry for a minute or two before I go back in and add that detail. So we're going to go ahead and skip on down to the squirrel and color the squirrel in with brown, light brown, and the blender. And this is a little bit different color combination yet. So lots of shades of brown, but no two are the same. Other than the bears, I guess. So the bears are the same, the bunny, and then the squirrel. So they're all different color combinations. Now pretty much all we have left are accessories and the small little scale image. So we're going to color in the cookie sheet that the bunny is holding with, again, the blue-gray and pale gray. We're going to color in the cookies on this cookie sheet with carmine red, peach pink, and pink haze. So there's a little bit more color going on here. We're going to color in the apron on the squirrel with carmine red and pink haze in the blender. The pocket and trim on the apron are going to be a contrast with light green and yellow green. The cookie cutter, the blue-gray and pale gray. The scale is turquoise green and green shadow. The center dial is going to be yellow green. The bowl will be carmine red and pink haze with the blender. And then the flour or whatever is in the bowl on the scale is going to be beige and the blender. We're going to go in with turquoise green and draw in the stripes for the aqua apron and do some polka dots with carmine red on the red apron. Then I went in with a fine tip black pen and added eyelashes to some of the characters, and then I'm going to die cut those with the coordinating Baked with Love dies. Now it's time to figure out placement for all of them. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and glue those in place with liquid adhesive. I like to lay it out first so that I don't have to worry about putting something in the wrong place. And we're going to use those snowy landscape trio borders along the bottom edge as great places to ground the images. I'm taking a black glaze pen and adding detail to the eyes and noses of my critters to really make them pop. Aren't those bears just adorable? I think they are so stinking cute and sweet. We're going to tuck the scale pretty much in the center, and then the bunny with her tray of cookies and the squirrel with its cookie cutter are going to be added next. Now we're ready for finishing details. I added some red heart accents, a scattering up above and one down below the stamped sentiment to finish my card design and add that fun little accent piece plus a nice little pop of red to the finished card. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Baked with Love scene card. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple of more cards featuring Mama Elephant stamps and dies you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.